Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos. Before we get started on today's block, I wanted to take just a few minutes to address some frequently asked questions that I get. And one thing is on pressing the seams open. I just recently started to press seams open, actually in January of this year, January 2023. I like the results I get from it, and it takes a little bit longer trying to get that seam open to press it, but I think it's well worth it. I use a half round piece of wood molding. You get this from the hardware store or the home improvement store, and I covered it with just a scrap piece of batting. I used my trusty glue stick just to keep it on there, and it stayed for a good long time. And you put the flat side down, you put the seam on top of it, then you open it up and you use your iron and press it. And I press it down like this, and then I flip it over and I press it after it's already been pressed. And that gives a nice crisp press, and it lays nice and flat. The reason I use this is it lifts up the seam that you're trying to press. If I was trying to press this seam and I came with my iron, it's going to catch these other previously pressed open seams, and it's going to mess up the pressing. But if you have this and you lay it on top of here, those seams fall down out of the way, and it just exposes the seam that you're working on. That's why I use that. The other question people have relating to pressing seams open is, do I use a smaller stitch length? And no, I don't. I just use my regular stitch length. Now, I have a Juki machine, and it's just a straight stitch machine, and it's mechanical, so it just has a dial, and I keep it on about 2. So I don't know if that helps anybody or what, but if you find that your seams, when you press open, your seams are starting to pull apart, then just make your stitch length more stitches per inch. Another question was, when I did the video on this block, the half rectangle triangles, I talked about when you're trying to piece these parts, the half rectangle, to use glue if you needed to. But then once I used the glue, I noticed that I couldn't press the seams open. Well, somebody suggested that I use a water pen. One brand is Soline, and there was another brand she mentioned, I can't remember now, but it's called a water pen, and she said that water pen just washes the glue out, because the glue I use is washable fabric glue. So that would come right out. I have never heard of a water pen before, but it makes perfect sense. Let's move on to the block now. Today's block is Garden Path. It's a 12-inch finished block. Here's the diagram. We have squares, half square triangles, and some flying geese units. You have this main frame in the middle of the block, and then all the assorted colors around it. Here are 4 blocks set block to block. Patch A is a 2-inch finished square. We cut 2.5-inch squares. We need 8 assorted patches for the block. These go in the center 4 patch, and they go in the corners. These are the AccuQuilt dies that will cut patch A. Patch B is a 2-inch finished half square triangle. We cut 2 7/8-inch squares, cut them in half once on the diagonal for 2 patches. For the background, we need 20 patches, and we need 8 assorted patches for these corner units here, and then 12 patches for the main frame here. Here are the AccuQuilt dies that will cut this shape. Patch C is a 4-inch finished quarter square triangle. We cut 5 1/4-inch squares, cut them in half twice on the diagonal, and we get 4 patches. We'll need 4 patches for the frame here, so that will have to match these up here, and 4 patches for the background. And here are the AccuQuilt dies that will cut this shape. Here are the fabrics I've chosen. And one thing that people ask me too, how do you choose fabrics? I just do it the easy way. I picked this main fabric, and I saw all these different colors in here, blues, reds, orange, yellow, green, and then I just pulled fabrics that match those. Some of these are in that same collection and some are not. That's one trick for finding fabrics that match your focus fabric. Patch A are the squares. Here are assorted squares. Patch B are the half square triangle patches for the background, fabric for the main frame, fabrics for the corner units. Patch C is the 4-inch finished quarter square triangle. These are used for the geese portion of the flying geese. Step 1 is the piecing. We're going to use the B patches to make the half square triangle units you see here. These are 8 assorted units, and these are 4 units that are the same. These are for the frame. For the assorted units, you'll take 8 of your background half square triangles, and then your 8 assorted half square triangles. Put them together like this, flip them over, match your 2 sides, and stitch 1/4 inch. Press your seams open. So these are your assorted. These are for your frames. Do the same thing. You'll make 12 half square triangles. Step 2, we're going to use the remaining B patches and the C patches to make our flying geese units. We'll make 4 of each unit. These are the remaining B patches, and these are the C patches. For the frame color, we'll take the background and stitch it like this to make our flying geese. For the background fabric, we'll take the frame fabric and stitch our flying geese like this. I cut the geese portion just with the rotary cutter, and I cut the half square triangle patches with the AccuQuilt, but they'll still fit. I start with the right side, but you can start with any side you want. Flip this over, match this bottom edge and this long edge here. So your 1/4 inch line. Press your seam open, then do the same thing to this side. Do that for all of these. You'll have 4 like this and 4 like this. For steps 3, 4, and 5, we'll make the corner units, the side units, and the center unit. For step 3, we take 1 of the patch A squares, 2 of the assorted half square triangles, and 1 of the frame half square triangles. So these 2 together and these 2 together, press the seams, and then sew the rows together. You'll make 4 of these. Step 4, we take 1 each of the flying geese units, put the dark geese on the top and the light geese at the bottom, makes a little chevron. Sew them together, press the seams open, and make 4 of these. And for step 5, take the remaining squares, sew them together in a 4-patch unit. So these 2 together and these 2, press the seams and sew the 2 rows together. Now we'll just look at the diagram and put all the units together. Since these are all assorted colors, we'll check to make sure we like the placement of the colors and make any changes that you want. I think I will change these. Sew the units into 3 rows and then sew the rows together. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos.